Welcome all. So today I will be talking about dihedral angle, and this is one of the most important topic as it gives a sort of a basic understanding of different when we talk about the protein conformations, so dihedral angle is one of the basic concept that gives the information about the conformation of the protein structures. So let's start. This is just a summary what we have done so far, and I have mentioned that the protein backbone or a peptide backbone is made up of a repeating units. And I mentioned that the repeating units, this is one of the repeating unit having NH and C alpha and then CO. So these different repeating subunits, they join together by a peptide bond, and that's how the peptide backbone is formed. Now, the adjacent alpha carbon in a peptide bond, they are separated by three covalent bonds. For instance, this is the peptide backbone, and we have one alpha carbon, this one, and the second alpha carbon is that one. And these two alpha carbons, they are separated by three covalent bonds. So one covalent bond is in between carbon alpha and carbonyl carbon. It is also known as a psi angle or psi bond. And another covalent bond is in between carbonyl carbon and nitrogen, and that is also a peptide bond. And the third one is in between nitrogen and carbon, alpha carbon, and that is also known as a phi angle. So these three covalent bonds separate adjacent alpha carbons in a polypeptide backbone. Now let's come to the peptide bond. So the peptide bond has a partial double bond character, and it has been shown by earlier studies, and that the CN bond is usually shorter. So if we compare the CN bond, carbon and nitrogen bond in normal amines, in just amines, not in a peptide bond, then that bond is a bit longer. But in case of peptide bond, the carbonyl carbon and nitrogen bond is quite shorter. So it has been observed that this bond is not a single bond; it is like a double bond, and that double bond character is explained by the phenomena of resonance. So resonance, it's the electronic redistribution on the structure of atoms. For instance, in this particular case, we have this carbonyl carbon and this nitrogen. Carbon and oxygen is more electronegative, so it will attract this electronic pair more toward itself. Certainly, a negative charge will be introduced on that. Similarly, nitrogen has one lone pair, and that lone pair will be used to make a double bond with a carbon. The actual structure is somewhat in between these different forms. So there will be this electronic redistribution and readjustment. Now that resonance phenomena explains why we have a sort of a double bond character of the peptide bond. And the other important characteristics of the peptide bond is that it is quite rigid. So it means that if this is one side of the peptide bond, backbone, and that is the other side of the peptide backbone, and if we want to twist that, then it is not possible to twist that because this peptide bond is quite rigid. Now let's Okay, so the other characteristic of the peptide bond is that all the associated atoms with a peptide bond, they are coplanar. So what is meant by coplanar? I will talk about that in a moment. Uh, uh, they are coplanar in a way that oxygen and hydrogen, they are trans to each other. Now this is the peptide backbone, so oxygen is here and hydrogen is here, and they are trans to each other. Now what is meant by coplanar? For instance, I would like to explain it through a very different a simple way. For instance, if we have these 2 points, and how can we join them together? So the answer is that we can join them together by a single line. But if we have situation like we have more than 2 points, like 3, 4, or 5 points, so is there any way through which we can join them together? The answer is yes. We cannot join them together by a single line, but we can join them together if we keep them on a single plane. Now, to make it more simple, for instance, if you take the top of the table as one plane and you put all those points on the top of the table, then we can say that these different points, they are coplanar. I've drawn it here two planes. So one of the plane is shown by this blue lines, and the other one is shown by that red line. And we have different points on one plane, and these different planes, they are joined together by this middle line, which is a line of intersection. It is also known as intersection point. And these two planes, they are sitting together at certain angle, and that angle is known as the dihedral angle. So dihedral angle is very important. If that dihedral angle is small, that means that the planes are very close together, and if that dihedral angle is bigger, that means that the planes are quite far away from each other. Now let's apply the similar knowledge information to the peptide backbone. In a peptide backbone, we have a series of rigid planes in a peptide backbone, and their common point of intersection is alpha carbon. So let's discuss that through this peptide bond. I would like to make the form of the one plane. So this is, for instance, one plane, and that is the second plane. Now individual atoms in this plane is they're very rigid. They cannot rotate, they cannot move, they cannot rotate with respect to each other because of the partial double bond character of the peptide bond. However, these two planes, rigid planes, they can rotate at this position, at carbon alpha position, and the dihedral angle will be phi angle and psi angle. So the angle this one at that one. Now the rotation of these two different planes is possible through these different angles. Okay, so due to the rigid peptide bond, very limited range of peptide backbone conformations are possible. These rigid planes can only move through dihedral angle, as I discussed before, phi and psi angles. In principle, the moment of these planes could be from minus 180 to plus 180. So the dihedral angle could be from 0 to plus 180 degree, or from 0 to minus 180 degree. That shows that it can move either to clockwise or it can move anti-clockwise. However, due to steric hindrance, only limited number of conformations are possible. Now let's come back to the figure. So if you look into these two different planes, so one plane is that one and the other plane is that one. Now these two planes, they can rotate with respect to each other through this C alpha alpha carbon and through these two bonds, because the rotation is only possible on this phi and psi angle. Now you can see that if you want to rotate this rigid plane with respect to that one, now it is possible in principle that we can rotate it to from 0 to 180 degree, or from 0 to minus 180 degree. So a complete clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. But in actual, this is not the case because we have a very limited conformation of the protein. So the movement of these rigid planes with reference to one another is very limited. There are very limited places where these rigid planes can sit in a favorable situation, in a favorable position. Okay, so one important point, the dihedral angles, dihedral angle is also known as torsional angle. Okay, so as I said that the moment of rigid planes, they are very restricted due to steric hindrance. So these rigid planes, they do not move. They even can't move freely as it seems. The steric hindrance means that we know that atoms are arranged in a particular three-dimensional form. So it's not like I drew in my previous slide in a one-dimensional linear form. Now these atoms, they occupy some space in their 3D structure. So if, for instance, the side chain of amino acids are quite bulky, then the movement of these atoms will further be restricted. Or even the associated atoms of the peptide bond may also affect the moment of the rigid peptide planes. Now that's the reason that these peptide planes have a restricted dihedral angles and very restricted movement through the intersection point, which is alpha carbon, and we discussed that in detail. Now, why these psi and phi angles are important then? Now, they are important because based on this concept, we can predict that the particular secondary structure of any amino acid in a polypeptide chain, um, it can easily be predicted. We now know, based on detailed investigations and structural analysis about the peptide bond, that there are specific regions or dihedral angles which will give a sort of energetically favorable protein conformations. So it can be predicted that what particular type of secondary structure will be formed by any amino acid in a polypeptide chain. Even based on this concept, number of tools have been developed that are used to evaluate the quality of protein structures. Anyway, we will talk about that in further details when I will discuss one important topic, that is Ramachandran plot. That will give us a more clear and detailed understanding of why these phi and psi angles are important. Thank you very much.